you played much Sims then, Brad?
Up to about Sims 3, yeah, I played a lot.
Do you want to say hello to the audience in Simlish then on 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3. So. Such a dumb language, I love it. I can't wait for someone to correct us as well on our pronunciation. You've not pronounced this made-up language correctly. The Sims is basically the virtual equivalent of a fish tank if your pet fish could drown because you didn't put a ladder in its tank. The titular Sims speak in a made-up language known as Simlish, something the creators have somehow managed to convince actual working musicians to re-record their songs in. To explain, in the first Sims games, funnily enough called The Sims, the only real music in the game was incidental background music that you can all now hear in your head. I'm very, very sorry for that. No, the one that got me is because I had a really shit PC.
Yeah.
So we always had that salsa rumba mix as it was loading
the
up.
loading screen.
That's the one I always heard so much because obviously it took so long for my computer to load the hell up that I just had that stuck in my head. It's like, well, I'm going to sit on and go in there and get a drink of water while I wait for the 10 minutes for the Sims to load up. This music mostly served as background noise to your antics as either a benevolent sky god or an omnipotent asshole who lived only to make the virtual denizens of the world you created lives an absolute living hell.
So go on, Karl, let us know, what's the worst thing that you've done to a Sim?
Well, I quite liked that in The Sims you could get a haunted house. So what I do is I create a family just to kill them. So I'd create a family, I'd use that family to like earn loads of money and build an awesome house, and then I'd burn them alive and put their gravestones in the back garden and then create the family I actually wanted to move into that house. I like the idea of a ghost randomly appearing. So I created a family just to watch them die. That was quite a harsh thing that I used to do, yeah. Do you know the number one prompt in The Sims that always scared me the most and made me feel the most uncomfortable? Is the little option bar where you can just turn off free will. So if you turn it off, your Sim will just stand there.
Oh yeah, you can manipulate it to how much they do themselves.
Yeah, you can have free will so they can choose, like if they're hungry, they'll go seek out food on their own, but you can just turn that off. So if your Sim's hungry, you'll make them just like, I'm hungry. They can still feel hunger, they just don't have the ability to act on it. So they just stand there in agony while you say like, no, read this book. You need to get a promotion tomorrow. I'll feed you a pizza if you're good. Radio stations do exist in the first Sims game, but mostly play generic stock music, something the creators were keen to address in follow-up games to make the world of The Sims feel altogether more authentic. So when they were making the follow-up game, The Sims 2, the creators approached a number of artists known to be fans of the game and asked them if they'd like to re-record one of their songs in their stupid made-up language.
We realized that it would be great for players to hear popular artists doing their songs in Simlish and bring some of their world into the Sims games.
To audio director Robbie Corker's complete surprise, every artist they approached not only said yes, but actually seemed excited at the prospect of being able to scream random gibberish into a microphone. Katy Perry, for example, fucking loves singing in Simlish and has re-recorded 2 of her songs for 2 Sims games so far.
But it's a nope.
So what's the process then? Do the artists come in and just scream random gibberish into a microphone?
You'd think it would be, but no. The audio director that I just mentioned, he says it's not unlike the effort that goes into making an actual CD or album. And they go to a proper recording studio and they even have a script.
Why do they need a script?
Yeah, for the stupid made-up language.
Yeah.
That's because even though Simlish is a made-up nonsense language and there's no real official translation out there of what Simlish words mean in English, although I think fans have tried to figure a couple of them out, they do want it to sound like it has some sort of structure. So, for example, choruses in a song must sound the same. So even though it's sung in gibberish, it has to sound like the same gibberish to give it the illusion that the language has like structure.
I imagine it's quite hard if you were trying to improv an entire song in gibberish.
Yeah, not to mention as well, when a lot of people try and make gibberish sounds, they tend to just make the same sounds over and over again. Whereas Simlish, even though it's this nonsense made up language, is supposed to be a fully fleshed out language that people use to communicate. So they want it to at the very least sound like they're using different sounds for different parts of a song instead of just going blah, 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 blah over and over and over again.
That's pretty much what it sounds like anyway.
To the untrained ear, but if you do listen to one of the songs all the way through, there is a definite structure to it because it was written by someone like on staff who's an expert in Simlish. And I just think it's quite good to know that. Like, you got someone like Katy Perry, like this super giant megastar, just sitting there like, here you go, Miss Perrot. And she looks and goes, ah, blah, 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 blah. Just sings it. And there's videos of her doing it, and she takes it so seriously.
Yarmy dancel table tubes, gimme ticka me shoot, keeps he off for goop.
There's a lot of jobs we've talked about in these videos that are probably really good jobs. I imagine expert on Simlish is one of them.
I don't think that'd help you get a job if you got fired, though. You were pretty much locked into that one career path at that point.
Can you speak multiple languages? Why, yes, I can.
Expert in Simlish, Elvish, and Klingon. Because get out. We only hire people. If it was Dothraki, then we'd be talking, but none of that shit.
That's out of date now. Wait, Star Trek's coming back. There might be a use for Klingon.
There might be, yeah. You can get the Bible in Klingon. How the fuck has anyone done that?
What's Jesus in Klingon, do you reckon?
I don't know.
Is it...
I hope it's just something stupid like Jeff. Funnily enough, it just perfectly translates as Jeff. Great.
The resurrection of Jeff. Oh.
But isn't that really interesting, though? The idea that, like, when you hear, oh, Katy Perry sung Hot and Cold in Simlish, and then you hear it, and she's like, blah, 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 and you think, oh, that mustn't have been difficult. And then you realise, no, it actually took all fucking day. Because one, someone had to write a script, and then she had to do multiple takes. Because obviously, if she makes a mistake in gibberish, she has to redo it. Can you imagine that, being told that you made a mistake while making in a made-up language? Like, blah, boo, blah, boo, blah. Sorry, Katie, it's supposed to be blah, boo, blee, blue, blah. She's, oh, I'm really sorry. Also, as well, what do you think the script looks like? It must just look like a cat walks across the keyboard. It's like, and as well, like, what are the pronunciations for Simlish words? We don't know.
I don't know what the science is to it, but I was given a sheet with it all written out, and I'm like, Juba bafweewa.
Just looking at it, you can probably bring them up, because I'm pretty sure if you go on like the Sims wiki, they do have a translation of a couple of the songs that people have done, including Hot and Cold by
Written
Katy
phonetically,
Perry.
I guess.
Written phonetically, yeah, so you can read it out, and you can probably put it below here for people to see, and see that's what, like, they got Katy Perry, who was like super giant megastar, and just gave her a piece of paper with these lyrics written on them, and she looked at it and went, okay, let's do this. Fans have tried to translate Simlish into English to get a rough idea of what Sims are saying, like using lyrics from songs that artists have written, which you can find for definite and compare it to the Simlish version. But the creators always said, well, we don't really want to do that because we like the idea that Simlish is always up to the interpretation of people watching. And it's quite good, because it means they don't have to translate it for other markets. So someone like in Germany can play the Sims game and it doesn't need a translator. There's never really been any official explanation of what Simlish is supposed to be, of whether it's supposed to be like a juxtaposition of multiple languages or if it's just gobbledygook. But some fans have got theories like, oh, it's Italian, French, German, Spanish, Swedish, a bit of Norwegian tickled in, maybe a bit of English, so all combined to make one super language.
But surely that's just them hearing either their own language or ones they know bits of in the
Yeah, it's just
language.
confirmation bias of, oh, that sounds like a Norwegian word. There's definitely a hint of Norwegian in here. And it speaks to the strength of Simlish that people can hear that many different languages inside it, which shows why they've done it. Because obviously you can sell a Sims game anywhere in the world, and people listen to it and get their own version of like, oh yeah, I can definitely hear some Norwegian in there, I can hear some Spanish in there. Same as like we can watch it and listen to it and hear like, oh, there's some English in there a little bit. A thing I compare it to is the Clangers. There's, I don't know if you'll ever be a fan of a clip of this, but I'm watching a documentary about the Clangers, because my dad's a big fan of the Clangers. And if anyone doesn't know, they speak in this weird whistling language. And they've said that people across the world understand the Clangers. It doesn't matter what language they shout in, they don't have to dub it over. And they've said, like, they go to German people and say, can you understand what the Clangers are saying? And the German people go, yeah, they're speaking perfect German. And that's just like people in their own head just attributing language to something. The Clangers themselves say the same thing in everything, but people can understand them. People basically just attach their own meaning to whatever the sounds are, and that's essentially what Simlish is.
Sounds like it'll be quite fun, recording your song in a made-up language.
Apparently, yes, some artists really do enjoy it. Like Katy Perry, she enjoys doing it. She's done 2 songs, like Hot and Cold and Last Friday Night, both in Simlish. And then there's other artists as well who've reported like, yeah, it's really fun singing in Simlish, and I'm ashamed to admit it a little bit, but I do kind of like singing the Simlish version more.
It got stuck in my head a little bit.
I would just prefer to sing it in Simlish from now on.
Even though they wrote the version, but it's like, no, the Simlish version is just more fun to say. And a lot of them say, like, even months afterwards, I can still sing the Simlish version because of how many takes we had to do to get it right.
I get it wrong. Yeah,
This is like some parody songs I know better than the originals. I have real trouble singing the originals.
Like a lot of Weird Al and stuff like that. I still listen to the, Spice Girls Wannabe and still sing the made-up version everyone had for that.
What was that one?
That was, If you want to be my lover, sex is 20p, condoms are 150, buy one, get one free. I still sing that in my head. The same with when I listen to I Want It That Way. You must remember the covers that were I Got It on eBay. This is from the early days of the internet for the younger people watching. Or the other one, Which Backstreet Boy Is Gay? I still sing that version in my head. To me, that's the real version of that song, the Which Backstreet Boy Is Gay one. So that's quite interesting. The idea that artists like, I kind of like the Simlish version more because it's just more fun to sing. Which you've got to imagine, like when you can find some clips of artists recording these. I think EA uploads clips like, here we are recording for the next Sims expansion. And you'll see that and they fucking love it. A really good thing about it as well is they get so many well-known artists to do this, but they never really advertise the fact that they do. So there are people who play Sims games and go, hang on, I know that song. Because they can hear, it's like when you hear a song in the distance and you can't make out the lyrics, but you can make out the basic beat and rhythm. Because I kind of know that song. And then you look it up and go, hang on a sec, this is a Paramore song. Wait a minute, that sounds a lot like Hayley Williams. It is Hayley Williams. Or you listen to it and go, wait, is this a Katy Perry cover song? Is that Katy Perry? And then you look up, it is Katy Perry. That's what I love about it.
I remember looking it up because I couldn't believe that the actual artist had done it.
That's what I thought when I researched this. And I went, okay, I can see Katy Perry doing it. I can see Carly Rae Jepsen doing it. I can see like these pop artists doing it. But when I looked, I went, why a Machine Head on this? Why a Chiodos on this? Why is Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy on this? Why are Depeche fucking Mode on this? Why are OK Go on this? Why is Junkie XL got dollars on this Sims game? And then you look at, like, you can find, like, put a list of like some of the weirder artists that have been on Sims games, and then you realise, like, how have they done this? It must be so much fun. Like, the one that really gets me though is Rise Against. They're all like super militant vegans and all their songs are about politics and then they recorded one of their songs in Simlish. It's like Tim McGrath. It's like, we know like your song Saviour, like, we get it. Like, it's a really important song. We get like the meaning and the message behind it. Would you like to sing it in our stupid made up language? And it's like, okay. It's like, yes, it's awesome. It must be such a good opportunity to just get out of your comfort zone for them to get such a wide range of artists. Because I can see like pop artists doing it, of like some guy in a suit saying, this will really help your brand. These games are really popular with kids. But then when they go up to like punk artists and like DJs and stuff like that, I'm like, Machine Head. Like, they go up to them and go, do you want to be in a Sims game? All right. Along with giving artists a chance to step out of their comfort zone, recording a song for a Sims game also allows them to reach a potential new audience.
How? That sounds like bullshit.
Well, you might think this sounds like I'm making it up, but artists who've recorded songs in Simlish for Sims games have reported being approached by people who know their music exclusively from The Sims.
So they only know the Simlish version?
Yes. And they've reported like being on stage at concerts, singing the version in English live and hearing it sung back to them from the crowd in fluent Simlish. This is a thing that happens and I find that amazing. And here's me thinking that the Sims games were all about drowning people in swimming pools and playing rock, paper, scissors with the Grim Reaper. Do you know the most annoying thing that ever happened to me while I was playing The Sims?
Aside from looking after Kevin McAllister.
Oh yeah, that was a thing. Yeah. I tried to play Home Alone in The Sims once. Brad will put a link to whichever video it was we talked about somewhere down here. No, it was when I tried to outsmart the burglars in The Sims by, at night, I would just Joe, you can get your door and you can move it around your house. At night, I'd get my front door, I'd grab it and place it inside the house so no one could get in. And I thought, this will stop the burglars from getting in. And do you know what the burglar stole? My fucking window. It's like, that is a burglar who's committed. He walks over, I can't get into his house. I'll have this instead. He just took my fucking window. And it wasn't even like a cheap window. It was like one of those super expensive ones, so I wanted to get as much light in as possible. It's like, you stole stole my fucking window. Imagine waking up in the morning and seeing that your window's gone and the burglar even took the time to brick it back up. I was so pissed off.
I was just going to say, isn't there going to be a huge hole if someone
No,
removes
because
the
obviously in The
window?
Sims, when you delete or remove a window, it becomes a brick wall again. So in the context of that universe, they woke up and a burglar had stole their window and bricked it back up. Oh my god, I was so annoyed about that. Another one I did is I tried to make Bear Grylls in The Sims 1. So what I did is I made a guy, called him Bear Grylls, and gave him all the tools he needed to survive. So I gave him everything he needed to survive and thought, let's just see how long he'll survive on his own. And just left him in the house. He literally lasted 3 days before he burnt himself to death. So I tried to do is like I made this whole thing out. Thinking, yeah, he's gonna survive for weeks, and I'm gonna be able to make an entire thing out of this. So I think I'll record it on Twitter, and I'll send you the link so you can put the pictures behind me. And no, he just died in literally like 3 days.
Did you try and make salad?
He tried to make something and burnt his house down. Some of the things in The Sims always used to piss me off like that. Like if you didn't pay your bills, they'd send the repo man round who'd automatically repossess the most expensive item you owned. So what I used to do to get around that is I'd delete my TV. So when he came round, I'd delete all my TV. And I remember once they did it, and they like the repo man, because I had nothing he could take. He just took like a big patch of carpet. It's like, that is a committed repossession, man. Oh my god, what a good game. I never played Sims 2 or 3. Sims 1 was always the one that cracked me up the most, because it's the one where you could just do the most bullshit.
There's so many expansions for it as well.
There was, but I always preferred playing regular Sims. Just regular Sims 1 and putting the move cheat on, so you could like, when you saw the school bus arrive, you could just park in your back garden. Because yeah,
My bus now.
my bus. My kid's not going to school. Oh, that pissed me off so much. Fucking burglar stole my fucking window.